Well, welcome to Tuolumne Legends. We're here with Ryan Campbell this month, and this is Marv, obviously, you just met.
Yep.
Well,
glad to be here.
Yeah, and glad to have you. I mean, all these years that I've known you, we've kind of sat in your office sometimes talking about issues.
Yeah.
But never, got to sit down and have, a personal conversation.
Yeah.
About who you are.
Who I am. Get into the depth of, what makes Ryan Campbell tick.
The AI.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. The AI didn't get all the juicy stuff. It has all the basics.
You looked me up on AI. What
does it say? Grok. It says a lot of stuff.
The handsomest of the supervisors.
Yes, that's in here too. Okay,
all right.
I think
if it's not, I'm going to start, Googling that. Ryan Campbell, handsome Ryan Campbell.
Go to Grok and tell him, hey, I am Ryan Campbell. You missed some things. Put this in there. I've done that a few times with the Tuolumne Lumber Jubilee. I'm like, hey, tell me about the Tuolumne Lumber Jubilee. Hey, I'm in charge? You need to put that in there. One thing when I was reading about not to sidetrack, we definitely want to talk about you, but I don't want to forget this part.
Yeah.
The Carson Iceberg Wilderness.
Uh-huh.
That is the Italian bar area.
No. So Carson Iceberg Wilderness is up Highway 108. Actually, most of it is in Alpine County. I don't know what it's listed somewhere on the county website that the Iceberg Wilderness, a very small portion of it is actually in Tuolumne County. Yeah. So if you think about, have you ever camped up in, what's it called? Clark's Fork?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that campground is actually in Alpine County.
Okay.
But the road going in there weaves in and out of Tuolumne County. It's a really interesting area. And so that campground is in the Iceberg Wilderness. It's kind of on the fringe of it. And then that whole area that's designated as, I think it's a national monument is technically what it is. A portion of that is in Tuolumne County. But I've actually hiked all the way through that part because
that's your job.
Well, that area represents the very, very eastern border of District 2. Okay. It actually ends right up there on that road. And so you can be walking along and not know if you're in Alpine County or Tuolumne County because it's all poison oak and,
well, I think
rocks. And
what I was thinking, my concern is the Cedar Ridge area to Italian bar, that seems like a huge fire risk for years.
Yeah.
And we've never really had a huge fire out of there, but it seems like it would be super dangerous.
We've had some close calls. So that area of Cedar Ridge is absolutely one of the highest fire risk regions of Tuolumne County. I look at it like Cedar Ridge, Ponderosa Hills, Pine Mountain Lake down in South County. Those are all sort of those classic developments where there's one road in, one road out. You have this whole subdivision that's built around a single entry and exit point. Mm-hmm. Something that hopefully would never get permitted today, but in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, people thought it was a great idea for some reason. I could go on and on about that, but Cedar Ridge and that area is kind of surrounded by, Big Hill and
Big Hill,
and the river is down in the valley. So you have kind of Cedar Ridge is on top of a ridgeline, which ridgelines are your most fire risk areas because heat rises. So when you get a fire in a valley, they tend to work themselves up to the ridge, and then where the wildland fire crews tend to stop fires is they'll cut a fire line at the top of the ridge because that's where they tend to peter out. Unfortunately, that whole subdivision is built in that area.
So it's not Iceberg Wilderness. What would that area be considered?
Iceberg Wilderness is far to the east of there.
Yeah.
That Cedar Ridge is Cedar Ridge. So it's Cedar Ridge, Mount Elizabeth, and Big Hill is kind of like one ridgeline, and then Yankee Hill you could add to.
Yeah. A lot of private property. Or is that federal out there?
It's a mixture. That area is kind of your classic wildland-urban interface, to use that, fancy word.
Yeah.
But that area is, there's a mixture of Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service land, and then private property. And then you got some SPI Sierra Pacific Industries, which is the timber producer, owns land up there. Yeah. So it's kind of like all of that. Yeah. Everything you've ever read about where fires break out is like up there.
Yeah. I'm going to make noise. I'm like, oh man, I don't even want to think about it. Like, geez. Yeah. It's so scary.
The good thing is that area in particular, but all of Tuolumne County really, but that area in particular is nationally recognized for the fuels reduction projects going on up there. So there's like it's called CERAL. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's one of those federal acronyms. Yeah. It's a program that reduced hundreds of acres of fire fuels in that area. Because the problem is, with the logging industry kind of going away up there, it's still active in a lot of our county, but up there, not really. Yeah.
It's forgotten.
We've had all these ladder fields and we've been putting out the fires, which is great, but fire is a natural element of forest health. Yes. And so when you stop the fires, that means you get all this brush and small trees and things that would normally get wiped out are now accumulating. And so now instead of having just, a regular fire come through every 10 years that, burns a little bit of things, but leaves the big tall trees, now we have these like major, extremely hot, extremely destructive fires that burn everything like the moon. Yeah. That's what's different. And that's why you have to get in there and go in there with equipment and fuels reduction crews to actually do that work.
Yeah. But it's like part of me, like I take it upon myself, like for my property line, I'm right next to BLM. Yeah. I bought a tractor. It cost me a lot of money every month, but it's important to me that I'm building my own fire break as a private citizen. Yeah. And that's, I guess, it's one thing to tell citizens, hey, you need to like be a part of this process versus they can't afford it or they don't want to, but it takes all of us. And that's, I think I'm still, I feel like I'm rabbit trailing because I want to get the basis for fundamental, but I'll maybe try to end it at this. It's frustrating that people always think like the county or the government needs to do something. It's like, what are you doing? Like,
It can't. It's just too expensive. There's too much. We can't depend on the government to do that kind of maintenance. I would say that I say that, but there are programs that we've had in the county that have helped seniors. That do help people with fuels management. Yeah. But if you're depending on that to do to keep you safe, no. I mean, because. It's just like anything at the state level, they'll, like I always tell people, the best thing that ever happened to us, this is going to sound bad, but best thing that ever happened to us was the 2020 fire season when the sky over Sacramento and San Francisco turned blood red. Oh, yeah. Because I was yelling for years about additional fuels funding, and we'd get little dribs and drabs here and there. But when they actually saw it, when those 2020 fires blew, we had the nor'easter winds, blew all that smoke over the Bay Area, blew it all over Sacramento, and they saw what we were dealing with for a decade. That's when a lot of the money got released for helping the forest. Yeah. And people like realized that we existed. That's kind of what happened. And we've been kind of riding on that since. And I would say, with like the Pacific Palisades fire down south, I'm a little concerned because I've seen the money shift more south. Yeah. It used to be Central Sierra was like it for the past 5 years. And then now it's kind of like looking at, them Hollywood folks and making sure those multi-million-dollar mansions get protected. And I'm like, no.
They're pretty much gone now. I think they've only started building like 2 or 3. I watch Adam Carolla. He goes through and talks about it a lot and keeps up on it. And it's pretty sad after a year, couple months, like there's only 1 or 2 houses being built. Yeah. Foundations are like millions of dollars because they're driving pilers into the ground before you even start to build something. Where before, he's sitting there going, hey, they piled literal wood poles into the ground. They were great for 60 years, 70 years, but now they're not. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. But I heard that they let the fire in LA go because they wanted the property, number one. And number two, they wanted to do this government housing thing down there. And so they were
whether they wanted to or not, like that might be an outcome. But like to say, conspiracy, all this, they wanted this to happen. Like,
see, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Well, right?
That's the thing. I hear that kind of thing a lot because I remember I heard it. People say it a lot about Lahaina, the fires in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal too.
Yeah.
Because
terrible.
That truly was a situation where you had long-time residents living in an area that they bought their property 50 years ago, or their parents did, when it was worth nothing.
Yeah.
And now it's, Maui, Hawaii. And so it's worth millions of dollars. And that fire came down and burned all their homes out. And now it's getting bought up by all the $1 million, resort companies. That's pretty fishy,
Yeah, it really is.
Pacific Palisades, it's kind of like those people were already rich,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, but Lahaina was it was kind of like by Hawaii standards, is a working class neighborhood. Burned down, and now all the resorts are wanting to come in and buy it up.
Yeah.
You can also see like this has been kind of hard for me. I sitting on the preservation committee at the county, and kind of understanding that whole process and how we protect and preserve buildings and aesthetics. Like it comes to a point where like if someone wanted to tear down a home, it's almost nearly impossible because especially if it's over 50 years and everybody's like, oh, it's historical. So when you think about those Palisades and there's never going to be no real new development.
Yeah.
Because it's stuck in the past.
Well, what do you think about that? Because it's always been this battle we have in Tuolumne County about wanting to, improve the community, have new opportunities for jobs and just for our kids and stuff like that. But then there's also very strong, we have a timber, gold mining history. We have, Native American history. We don't want to change. And it's almost like, it is like the closest to 50-50 split that I can imagine in Tuolumne County. It's like half the people don't want anything to change at all. And then half the people say there's not enough going on. We need to change. Like, how do we get through that?
Well, I think time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Usually
attrition.
Attrition. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of change does happen.
Yeah.
I am not very pro tourist because I feel like a local. I feel like, for example, like Pinecrest. I used to go up there with my family all the time. Like, I can't go up there no more. Like, it's packed with everybody from out of the area and micro trash, and it just it's not a comfortable, nice environment anymore. So that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of against tourism. But at the same time, I get it. It's part of our local economy. There's a part that's important about that. Our Columbia mining history. Gold Rush era, our downtown Sonora. It's beautiful. Those things are awesome. And I want people to share those experiences. That's why we all be tourists and we go places and things, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to homes and private property, people want to build new things, or we need to do build more homes, tracks, and stuff like that. We got to do something. And I've been hearing it for years. I think before, like in the mid-teens. When Royce was running, or he was supervisor, he was a builder. He wanted to come in and help build the county. And he gets in there and just hits a wall, and he realizes there's nothing we can do, Well,
I was born and raised here. I'm like the fourth or fifth generation in Tuolumne County. And I have a long history here. Like my great grandfather logged, worked on the trains. My grandfather logged and worked on trains. Actually, all my family are loggers, and we worked at it. But so I graduated high school in 1987, right? And from there until I'm almost 60 now, there's been a lot of changes here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we used to go up and walk and enjoy nature, there's a house.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the old timers that are here. They don't want to see it change anymore.
Right.
Because there's been too much change. And, and I like that people come up here or whatever, but they come up here, they buy everything up, and then the rent goes like San Francisco or Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing to be a tourist up here, but then to come buy property.
Yeah.
That it's totally, to my opinion, it's killed Twinghart.
Yeah, well, it's killed a lot of places. It's just how do you do that though? I mean, how do you come up here and expect the same rent from down there when people don't make the money here is down there? So it's always been Southern California, Central, and Northern California. So if you take Central up and then take Southern down, it's two different states. So where they take your driver's license here, what are you going to do? You're going to walk 5 miles to the grocery store? When there, you can just walk right around the corner, right? And then I like growth, but trying to stick businesses in every little corner, it's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
Like I heard there's Bean Brothers coming up, and now they want a Trader Joe's up here. It's like, okay, but here's the thing. Can people actually afford it right now for a Trader Joe's? You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people want the two biggest requests that I get for like, hey, Ryan, can you make this happen is Trader Joe's. And
Trader Joe's.
And the other one, guess what the other one is?
Probably a Starbucks. No,
I don't know.
In-N-Out Burger.
Oh, well.
God,
No,
really?
That's number
really,
one.
people are asking you as a supervisor to get in and out
They
of
say,
here.
hey, Ryan, when are we going to get an In-N-Out Burger? Make that happen. So guess what I called?
Is there like
I called them.
Is there an age, like particular age that's asking for this
You know
generation?
what? I would say under 50
Really?
wants In-N-Out Burger, and then
my
over
gosh.
50 wants Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
You know,
but
so you
I
made a
called
call. I mean, but I already know the answer. But what did they say?
They said, so In-N-Out Burger said, no way, because the way they're structured is they have to be off an interstate highway system or have something like, it was like 500,000 or 800,000 people within a mile and a half of their restaurant. And we're pretty far off that population. So we're not on an interstate highway. We don't have 1 million population. And then Trader
I would
Joe's,
never ask a supervisor for that. I figured that on my own.
no, I mean, it's good to know what people want, and what people are looking for, because you never know. Opportunities come up sometimes. That those things might happen, but yeah, no, In-N-Out. I have to break the bad news to people with In-N-Out Burgers that we're pretty far off. Now this was several years ago that I called them, so maybe that's changed, but
maybe.
And then Trader Joe's is a similar type of thing. We're actually closer with Trader Joe's, but they need like 250,000 people within a 5 mile radius of their store.
We got to make a lot more babies and houses.
A lot more houses.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a Trader Joe's up here. I used to work for Trader Joe's in Pacific Grove.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. It was a great job.
Yeah, that's I like their candy.
Yeah, candy.
Yeah, those loose bags of candy they sell.
Yeah, we used to sell a lot of that $2 Chuck.
So I have a story about $2 Chuck.
$2 Chuck, what is that?
So when my dad passed away, he would collect wine and different types of whiskey and that kind of stuff. And so me and my brothers distributed all of it, and there were 2 bottles of $2 Chuck from like 2005, and I was like, this is like the heyday of $2 Chuck. This is like when that was like becoming a really popular thing. And so I was like, these are going to be valuable someday. And so my wife had some friends over for like a book club, and I see one of the bottles open and they're drinking it. That's my special one. So I still have one, but
man,
my wife drank
put it in the
one.
safe.
So because isn't that's what becomes valuable, are things that were cheap at one time, but then they all got drunk, and then now you have one. So
It's like,
I still have a vintage.
I wish you still had 1980s milk, because the milk today is just not the same.
I don't know if it would keep that one.
In the military, there was a Dutch group, And they made this milk that was supposed to last forever.
Oh,
It tasted like it would last forever. And it came in like one of those little square boxes with the pop top.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we used to get it with our MREs and stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They still sell unpasteurized milk at the health food place on Standard Road. I think it's like $9 a bottle, but
It's nice and thick and creamy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gives you
make your own
strong
ice
bones.
cream and
There's,
butter out of it.
there's some dairymen around. I bet you could make some calls and source some raw milk.
That's nice. It's crazy where we live, because we can get that like agriculture, a little bit of agriculture here.
Yeah.
Versus, going down in the city or the rest of California, we still got that agricultural little touch in many different ways.
What I find is like some of the produce that we get in like the grocery stores it's not that great. And I'm kind of like, I don't know where they're shipping it, but it's not coming up here because like some of the best agricultural land in the whole country is 20-minute drive or 40-minute drive away. And so I don't know, I always stop at like when I visit my in-laws, I'll stop at the roadside fruit stands and things because that's where you get the good stuff.
I feel like when you talk about trade and economy, it seems like everything goes opposite. You grow it here, it's send it somewhere else. It's grown somewhere else, it's send it here. Yeah. It's the same with like the oil industry. Like got oil pumping over here, but we're gonna bring it over here instead of vice versa. It's
so that we send our stuff overseas, which is cheaper back and stuff, but then you pay for the import prices coming back, and that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
But talking about meat and stuff, I learned something very interesting. So I never believed about this lab-grown meat.
Lab-grown meat.
Yeah, I didn't believe it. So I was watching this program.
Tastes as good as it sounds, probably.
Oh, but if you look on the tab, it's supposed to say something like cellular grown, or if it says anything on cell, it cells. It's not a real animal. It's made from an animal cell, and it's grown in a lab, and that's the meat or whatever. I got grossed out, man. So now every time I go to the grocery store, I can look at that tab. I'll even go out. Where'd you get this? You know what I mean?
Do they sell it yet? Is it?
Oh, it's already been sold.
Is
it? I think it's been sold for a couple years.
Oh, really?
I think it's been a thing.
Well, they have to tell you, right? I mean, they're not going to just mix it in with the hamburger.
We never know.
Well, I don't know, but it's so on your tag. Make sure you read it now.
I'm going to
rawhide and shingles.
I mean, I might try. I don't know. I like to experience new things. I might try it.
Oh, you probably ate it quite a bit then.
Yeah.
Didn't know it. But.
Had hot dogs the other day. So
let's digress a little bit. Let's get back to Ryan.
Let's back to it.
And tell us where you're born. Tell us about your parents. Like, what was your growing up?
I was born in Pittsburgh, California. So that's out on Highway 4.
Yeah, right. Going towards Oakland or something? Pittsburgh?
Yeah. So kind of East Bay area.
Yeah.
My dad was an Oakland ironworker.
Nice.
My uncle Dan was an Oakland ironworker. My uncle Lyle was. My uncle Bernie, and my uncle Clarence.
Wow.
Also, my grandfather Drury Willis was a ironworker. He helped build the Bay Bridge.
So they built the Bay Bridge, like ironworker, like they were just building stuff, or like they were.
Yep. My dad helped build the Bank of America building and the Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco.
Wow.
He worked on, so if you go out like Travis Air Force Base, those big giant hangars that they park the C-5 Galaxy aircraft in, my dad built those. He said they had one worker fall. And he said that was a long fall, because every once in a while you drop something, you drop a nut or something, and it would fall and fall and fall and fall, and then ping, man. And he's just like, I couldn't imagine what that must have been like. But yeah, so blue collar background.
What'd your mom do?
My mom was she was a school teacher, so preschool teacher, and then did different things. Like she worked in a church and, So I was born there, but where I actually grew up is a town called Ileton, which I'm always impressed when. Do either of you know where Ileton is?
No, but you didn't mention any brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters. Yeah, I have 2 older brothers.
They would have got mad at you, like you forgot about us, bro. You're like whatever.
Yeah,
so you're the youngest.
Yes, I'm the youngest.
Oh, spoiled youngest.
They say that I act like I'm the youngest. I don't think so. I don't feel that way, but they
got all the hand-me-downs and.
What my middle brother says is that our mom would make me dinner and no one else. Like she would just make me a dinner just for me, and then everybody else would have to fend for themselves. And I'm like thinking that might have happened once. And for him, it's like
if it was ever all the time.
It means all the time.
Yeah. Maybe it was probably your birthday or something, and they just forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, grew up. Where I actually grew up was. A place called Ileton, which was, if you look at Sacramento County, it's mostly a square, but it has this little tail that comes off, kind of like Alaska, where it has a little tail.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, the farm I grew up on is at the very, very bottom of that tail. So it was a farm in the Delta area, Sacramento River Delta. So I had San Joaquin County on one side, Stanislaus or Solano County on the other, and then Sacramento County, this little strip.
Nice.
So yeah, grew up on a corn and alfalfa farm.
So your dad was doing iron and farming?
Yeah. So he would drive every morning 2 hours to the Bay Area. Because he didn't want to live in the Bay Area. So So he moved us out to the country as far away, but as close as he could be.
Yeah.
And at that time, we would throw the football on the highway and stuff, and there was nobody out there when I grew up. And now it's just like a busy. It's talk about developing and changing. That area is completely developed now.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, when we were kids, it was us and then 3 other farms, and that was it.
Yeah.
So
even though you were there, you didn't like grow up like feeling like you were in a city. You felt rural too.
Yes, I was very, very rural. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is why I think I feel so comfortable in Tuolumne County. I mean, I've been here 20-something years. Yeah. But it's the same type of attitude in the Delta as in the mountains. Yeah. People kind of, they help each other, but they're sort of isolated and keep to themselves. They don't really like outsiders kind of thing. Where the Delta area I grew up is very similar kind of thing. Yeah. We all know where the different trails are and what the different mountains are out there. Everybody knows the different rivers and estuaries, and we don't share that information very easily with non-river people. But no, I've been a mountain guy for the past 25 years. So
you grew up there, and where'd you go to high school and stuff? What was that like?
I went to Rio Vista High School, which is right across the river from where I grew up. And that's a regular high school experience.
Pretty big, like 500, 1,000?
No, small. My graduating class had 74 kids in it.
Yeah,
that's like up here. I think I had 60.
Yeah.
I think I graduated with 114. I think we had more, but that was 114 that actually graduated.
Yeah.
So what was your what did you do in high school? What was your interest and stuff? What were you thinking when you were a kid?
I mean, I worked.
You worked. What was your first job? I mean, you worked on a farm, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a working farm, and I was driving a combine from the time I was 9 years old. Nice. I remember very vividly driving my dad's diesel Ford Ranger, which they actually made a diesel Ford Ranger back in the day.
Yeah, Ford Ranger.
They even made a
Ford Ranger
diesel Volkswagen truck too.
Yeah,
and I was driving around the island, and I got pulled over by a park ranger because we had the state park is out there, and he looked in there and looked at me, and I was not 9, I was probably 12 years old.
Just 12.
So I was 12 years old. but I started driving one.
70 pounds.
He looks in there, and there's this dirty farm kid in overalls, a dirty truck, and what had happened was the tailgate of the truck was hanging loose.
Oh, no.
Behind, and he was like, "You got to fix your tailgate." And he never said, "I want to see your license or registration." And then he just got in and then drove off.
Yeah.
But it was like he knew what the deal was. Is that I was a farm kid doing work for my dad. But no, when in high school, things that interested me was journalism, and writing and reading, because that was kind of an escape for me. You said
your mom was a teacher, so she probably was big at reading and writing with you and stories. And
I don't know. I just always liked doing different things than, like, if I saw other people doing something, I wanted to do something different.
Nice.
And so all my friends were, partying and wanting to do that stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go the other direction and study and that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I just always was pretty driven to do a variety of things. Teddy Roosevelt calls it the strenuous life. And so it's kind of like, okay, you only get a certain amount of time on this earth, so you got to do as many different things as you possibly can. And you're going to be tired and beat and broken up by the end of it, but that's kind of the goal, is to just get, come out of this life with nothing left. You're just absolutely torn up and used up, and that means you led a good life.
So I always felt like when you're on your deathbed, probably the thing that people regret the most is not doing something. Things they didn't do, things they should have done. So after high school, you do any sports in high school and stuff?
I wasn't too interested in sports in high school. I did do track and I played football. I was, believe it or not, I was a running back, and then I did quarterback for like a little stretch of time. So I tell people, I was a high school quarterback.
Oh, there you go.
Not really. There were like 5 other people much better than me. I did track. I did pole vaulting. I did a couple other things.
You're pretty tall.
I'm 6'1", so I don't know.
You're just right about there. What were you in high school? Were you
tall enough?
Were you 6 in high school?
So that's one thing that is kind of interesting is I grew to be the height I am right now in 8th grade.
Wow.
So,
dang.
Yeah, I grew very, very quick as a young kid. So I was by far the tallest kid in junior high school. And then everybody kind of like caught up. But it was funny because, you have bullies and stuff when you're younger. And then by like 6th or 7th grade, I had no bullies at all. And I was like, what changed? And it was just because all the other kids were down here. I grew to like adult height as a kid. So people were thinking I was going to be 7 feet tall and stuff like that. I was like, no, I just grew regular man height. But I have like big hands and then big feet. So like,
So you get out of high school, and then where are you going? Where did you go?
Well, high school, I just went to work. So I actually the first the first non-working for my dad as slave labor job I had, because he also had a landscaping business. So he was an iron worker.
Gosh, he was all in. He was busy. That guy never had a day off or what? Like, Jesus.
I mean, back in those days, blue collar work didn't pay very well.
Man.
Iron workers was good to us. Like we got healthcare. Like I had asthma growing up, and I had got medicine through the iron workers. Education opportunities. So I'm big time, union worker guy because it is what got me and my brothers through. But the pay was not that well. And so we had the farm, and then he had this landscaping business. And so on Saturday morning, we'd get up about 5 o'clock in the morning and drive out to Danville. Do you know where that is? It's kind of like a rich East Bay neighborhood. And we'd cut lawns, and I have scars all over my hands from I would trim roses. I got really good at trimming roses, and I did it with bare hands, which apparently is a dumb idea. So, and we would do that every Saturday morning, and then get home about 8 o'clock at night.
Dang.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
and he would pay me $20. I would do that.
Wow.
I would work from 5 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night for $20. But it was kind of like, that's just what you did, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I hear people tell stories about, you know, growing up poor and things like that. And we definitely did. You know, we didn't have hot water for a number of years, and, you know, food was always tight, and we'd never went on vacation or anything. We didn't even know what those kind of things were, but everybody was that way where I was growing up.
Yeah.
So it was okay, you know, but the things I look at is that, okay, my father loved me, cared for me, respected me, treated me like a part of the family. My mother loved me, cared for me, treated me with respect, and gave me responsibility. You know, those, you know, I would never tell people I had a bad upbringing because of that. Like, even though we didn't have the material things, those emotional support and being respected by your parents is more important than anything. You can have nothing in this world, and if you have that, you're okay.
So your parents they weren't partiers, they didn't fight, they didn't really argue. They were pretty.
I feel so grateful to them because, you know, they put me on a good path, you know, and without them, you know, who knows? Because I look at the kids I came up with, and maybe half more, maybe more, jail time, drug abuse, that kind of thing, very common. And we, you know, we just kind of avoided that, me and my brothers, because, you know, we had that, we were just put on a path by where our parents were that led us to good things.
Do you have any religion mixed up in there?
Yeah, we're Catholic. So yeah, my dad, I mean.
So the only day off was Sunday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was.
Well, and even then, you know.
Even then, it was like, we gotta milk the cows and put some things away, right?
My dad's old school. So we're Scottish, but it's kind of like Irish Catholic tradition.
Yeah.
He's from Minnesota. So those are like you know, you tell me the story about the nuns. Like, my dad always had the most. I mean, here's this, you know, very little education, iron worker, farmer, the most beautiful penmanship. You know, he would write cursive just incredibly. And it was because the nuns back in Minnesota, if you didn't write penmanship well, they'd whack you with a ruler.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
How was your writing?
Not good at all.
No, man. Gosh. Dad was like, nah, I'm not going to push that one.
Yeah.
Your mom was a teacher, though. Like, come on.
No,
you got to write.
The nun that we had in our town was a sweetheart. Yeah. Mrs. Earhart.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, so what was your real first job? I think we got sidetracked. After high school,
I was picking strawberries.
Picking strawberries.
That's the first thing I ever did where I got paid an hourly wage.
When did you move out and start, really getting on your feet?
Well, what I did, so graduating high school, so I was into motorcycles, and I had an old 1981 Shadow 750 Honda.
Oh, yeah.
And I pulled the engine out, rebuilt it, put it back in. Hadn't even really tested it, but this was the week after I graduated high school. I worked on this motorcycle, and the week after that, I took it down to Mexico.
Oh, nice.
So I rode from my dad's farm in Sacramento County to Cabo San Lucas.
Oh, wow. Sweet.
So over a course of about a month.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And that was like, it was a trip that I would never want my kids to do.
Right?
I had no money. I didn't even have a passport. I didn't even have a driver's license. I had a motorcycle permit.
I'm like,
no, that's not. I had a driver's license, but I didn't have a motorcycle license.
Oh, yeah.
I had a permit and no passport. And this was pre 9/11, obviously. So I rode down there, and it was great. People were super nice, helped me out the whole way. The motorcycle was leaking oil the whole time.
gosh, dude.
You learn Spanish really quick when you start having to ask for motorcycle parts in a foreign country.
What inside you said, I got to get out and take a break?
Well, it's just like, any kid growing up in a small town, you think, I'm too good for this place. I got to get out of here.
I mean, that's quite an
I need
adventure.
to get out of here for bigger and better things. Like somebody's going to pull up to my house with a Ferrari and $1 million in the back seat any day now. You know?
Yeah.
That's kind of the attitude you have when you're a 19-year-old.
Were you dating back then? You having girlfriends and stuff?
Yeah.
That didn't hold you back either. It's like, hey, I'm going, honey.
No, I mean, I was always a little. I did that, but
Yeah, you guys that are 6 foot tall, I get them all. You know, like there's one around every corner.
I feel like that was not as big a deal in the past as it is now.
Yeah,
It's like because it's like the dating apps.
yeah.
Like you select the criteria, and that's like just something that women will select. And I don't know how much it really matters.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think I don't know. You don't think it matters?
I don't know. I'd rather see them in person.
Well, it's like I don't know. You just if you talk to a woman with respect and all you have to do is find some kind of connection. Once you find that, then
I guess in the past it was more like that. I just feel like we're so spoiled now, like how we can just order things the way we want them. And I think, honestly, relationships have become that way. We think we can just order them the way we want them. And there's like, it's a fairy tale, it doesn't work that way, but our whole society kind of feels like it works that way.
I don't know, maybe for young people.
Yeah.
Like, because
But
young people have always been superficial about relationships and things, because you're looking for, a guy with a nice car or,
a little bit of money.
Or a cheerleader or something.
I had a nice car in high school. That's what got me in trouble. I mean,
What kind of car did you have?
When I graduated, I bought a 318i BMW. I thought,
nice.
It was like
the boxy, with the round headlights.
Yeah, but you feel like you're like a president, and then it's quick and fast, 5-speed. But when I was in high school, I had a 64 Chevy.
Oh, wow.
And, hopped up a little bit, and that got me around, you know, and real beefy, fun, good times.
Yeah.
But
nice.
it's the status, it's like, hey, this kid's working, he's got money, he's got a car. I mean, I wasn't the tallest or smartest, but had my stuff together, you know. So you go down to Mexico and you find yourself and you come back and you change the world. What's going on here?
Yeah. I don't know if I found myself down there. I don't know. I was
hit the beach and you're like, man, like, wow.
Because I always like traveling. I mean, it's kind of.
You had no money, so you were just like kind of begging and putting gas in the truck, the motorcycle. I mean,
at that time, gas was whatever, like 80 cents a gallon, 90 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
So that was not a problem. I remember very vividly. I stayed I guess it was like a hotel or something.
Guess?
Well, a hostel.
It had lights on,
What they would call a hotel in Tijuana in 1999. And I paid $17 and I was like, God, this is a ripoff. $17 a night? God, this is such a ripoff. So that's the scale of the money I was spending per day. Wow. So we're talking like $20 days on the road.
So you weren't poor. I mean, you say you left with no money, but I mean, you had to have something.
Well, I mean, enough for $20 here, $40
there. So would you work along the way or something?
I was working on the farms, and then I also worked with like this. I did the Census Bureau. I remember when they were doing the census because they had they're called enumerators. Which are the people that go to your door and they count you and they do the surveys. Yeah. And they were all getting lost because nobody knew any of the roads and they didn't know where the homes were. And also people weren't answering the door because, they just they were all from Sacramento and they had the wrong attitude. And so they did this push to like hire local people and like kids out of the high school. Yeah. And because we knew where all the roads were and I could walk up and say, hey, how's it going, Fred? And, and so I got some money that way. So I think it was my census money that I used to go down to Mexico.
There you go.
That was also kind of like a precursor to, politics too, because it's like a government thing.
You got to talk to people.
Yeah, because I also felt the census was an important thing because it is outlined in the Constitution that in order to do apportionment for Congress, you need to have a census every 10 years. And it's like written by the founding fathers. So I felt like I'm doing like the work of the founding fathers by being a census enumerator.
Didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
I knew one census worker up here, Harrison. He passed away on a motorcycle actually a couple of years ago. My good buddy's dad. Yeah. He was actually a sheriff, and I think he was a sheriff for a long time, and rest his soul. Like, But I remember him talking about being a census and going around, and it's like everybody knew him, Chris.
Yeah.
And he was also a sheriff, so he kind of like knew where his boundaries were and stuff. So it worked out. Yeah. So okay, what's going on in your 20s? I mean, what's?
Oh man, we're just going down the whole gamut. Well, I went to college. Went to university. Well, I went to junior college at San Joaquin Delta in Stockton. Then I went to college in North Carolina, so University of Chapel Hill. So the Tar Heels. If you like, I don't know if you follow college sports at all.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. So we didn't have a very good season this year. We were looking good, and then just didn't work out. We beat Duke one time, so that was good. Yeah.
So you went down to Stockton, but then you said you went over to Carolina. What drove you over to Carolina?
Well, as I said, I got interested in journalism in high school. I actually ran a radio station in high school too. Wow. KRVH, which I think still exists. And it was basically, there was all this old radio equipment from the 70s. Yeah. And me and a friend were plugging in stuff, trying it out. I mean, I literally electrocuted myself like 10 times. Yeah. Touching things that I shouldn't have been touching. Yeah. Yeah. Vacuum tubes, all that stuff.
Was all this equipment out of college or something?
No, it was at the high school.
At the high school. And just
it was sitting in a storage locker.
Wow.
Nice.
And the high school actually had its own tower. And so we just hooked it up and it worked.
So who was monitoring you? You could say whatever you want. What's going on here?
We had an advisor, and he was like, "Well, just don't curse."
Don't curse. Did you pick up sponsorships? Get this paid for? What's going on, man?
I don't. Yeah, right. I remember
no entrepreneurship.
Well, we all brought our own CD because we all wanted. Because at that time, being a DJ was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
So we all wanted to be DJs, and so I only had 4 or 5 CDs at that time. So I would play Metallica. I had The Unforgiven Metallica. Yeah. That was one of the albums I played all the time. Mm-hmm. And then I had a Depeche Mode CD.
No copyright issues.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. No, we didn't. No FCC, no copyright. Yeah. I mean, who's going to... bunch of punk kids at a high school and nobody cares.
So it's the only channel you can pick up because they got it boosted so bad. Right. We can't get a radio for 5 miles. We only get one station.
That was the joke we would tell. It was it would be 400 watts. And I was so blasting into your stereo with 400 watts, about equivalent to what your toaster does. This is Ryan Campbell, your DJ. But I was interested in journalism, and they have a journalism school in University of North Carolina. So that's where I went.
But that's a big step now. You're going from California to all the way across the United States.
Part of it was a really good journalism school, and so that was attractive. And then the other part of it was, I wanted to see the other part of the country.
Nice.
And just kind of live that and experience other, like I said, I like traveling. I like understanding different areas. And what's funny is I
still don't feel no girlfriend following you around or nothing.
Well, I mean, you're in your 20s,
It's it wasn't high on your priority list of having a steady relationship.
More you don't lose your girlfriend, you just lose your turn and move on.
Oh well, that's small town,
I would not say it's not high. It was the number one thing on my priority list.
It was very picky.
It was easier for me to apply and get into a college than it was to get a girlfriend.
So
it was hard back then. Okay.
Yeah. It's getting a girlfriend was much more of a challenge than any of these other things we're talking about.
Yeah.
I could get on a motorcycle and ride to Canada or Mexico.
This guy's on a motorcycle. He's 6 foot tall. He's educated, and he can't get a girlfriend. What? You had it all, man. Well, you had it all.
There's this Family Guy episode where this guy's talking to It's like what it's like talking to a 23-year-old woman, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go out on a date?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, like, do you want to go on a date?" And she's like, "You mean like a date?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." And she's like, "All right, here's the first 3 digits of my phone number. Text me, email me." And then she walks away.
Gosh.
And that was kind of my experience. It's
Okay.
like, what, you just don't know where you stand when you're 23 years old and you're looking for a date.
So you're out there in college.
Yep.
And so how long were you out in Carolina?
Well, I finished an Associate of Arts degree at junior college. So I only needed to do 2.5 years, I think, of college there, or 3. I think I did 3 years. 3 years in college, because I got a lot of like the basic remedial stuff kind of out of the way in Durham, which is a thing I always tell kids to do that. Yeah. Like, don't look at any kind of fancy college. Yeah, go to whatever. Basics go to Columbia College, get your AA out of the way, and then go where you want to go, because you don't want to waste your time and money going to a fancy college studying, math 1A. You want to go to that school to study exactly what you're interested in, and go to the cheap school to do all the other stuff, because it's all the same. It's all the same. Like, in fact, I wouldn't. In retro, well, I was really grateful for the experience I got there, but it was pretty expensive, and I had student loans coming out of it. And I would say,
what years was this?
It was 2000. I graduated 2005, I think.
Oh, nice.
So, which at that time, having $20,000 in student loans was like a lot. Now it's nothing. Yeah. That's like not a big semester, deal. But I tell kids, like, just go wherever's either free or low cost.
Yeah. What did you think about like 9/11 and that whole situation?
Well, I mean, you and I are probably about the same age, right?
I graduated in 2001.
Okay, yeah. So I graduated in 1999, so I'll be 45 in another couple of weeks. It changed everything. It changed everything. Like, it's our Kennedy assassination, or it's our, because the kind of things we worried about pre 9/11 was just, bullshit. Whether you're popular or not, or what kind of music do you listen to, and superficial kind of early 20s type stuff. After that, it's like seeing people die, Americans die in the most horrible way imaginable. We had never even conceived that something like that could happen. We were invincible. As a country, nobody could ever touch us. Why would anybody want to? Everybody loves us, and we're America. It just never occurred to me that kind of thing could happen in this country. And so it like rocks your sense of security and what our standing is in the world.
And then airplane travel right after that was crazy too.
It was crazy.
Oh my gosh, it was nuts. And it's not like it is today. It was actually just kind of strange,
Yeah.
Well, I was already in the military, so we were doing the security at San Francisco airport. And stuff.
Right after it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled security in.
Yeah. For that whole year or 2 years, we were all just waiting for the next one. It was... Yeah, because I remember. Well, I'll tell you where I was. Everybody tell me where you were. But
when Kennedy died, where were you?
Yeah,
that's like when 9/11 happened. Where were you?
I was going to school in Stockton, Delta College. I was still living at my dad's farm, and because it happened 5 o'clock in the morning here, 8 o'clock out there, and my alarm goes off at like 6 o'clock, and I had one of those old clock radio kind of things with the flip things. I don't even know where you would get one of those now.
Thrift store.
Clock radio turns on, and I hear this DJ that was always like a joke DJ talking in a really serious voice. And he was talking about airplanes and 747s, and I was like, what? So I go in the living room and I turn on the TV, and it was like a movie. It was like you turn on the TV, and it was watching right as it happened.
Yeah.
You know, it was the first thing I saw was that plane going into the first tower.
Yeah.
And then you hear that there's another tower, because by then it had all happened and the buildings had fallen down.
Yeah.
And it was seeing all of 9/11 happen right in front of me within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it was, I remember it very well. It was quite a shock.
Yeah.
And we were thinking it was going to happen everywhere. You know, I was like, are they going to crash into my house? You know, where were you?
I was between basic training and AIT. I was my first week in AIT. Yeah. What happened was I was coming off when I came off the last ruck march, the death march of basic training. Yeah. I caught pneumonia, and I was able to hold myself together through graduation and get done. And as soon as I got to my AIT training facility, I was like, I checked myself in, like I got a fever like 103. I'm gonna die. Yeah. I get down to the infirmary, and I think we're like 3 or 4 stories up in this hospital building, you know. Yeah. And then everybody down the hallways are like running, and me, this other cadet soldier, were like, what's going on, you know? And we're like not allowed to go anywhere because we're still trainees and stuff, and we're peeking out the window, out the hallway, and like, man, what are these guys talking about? Yeah. So I ran into the other room. I grabbed a cord because we can't watch TV. And I brought the cord in, hooked our TV up, and that's when I started seeing it. I was like, oh, yeah, this is crazy.
Well, it's kind of funny because where I was just got back from jogging, and I was getting out of the shower. My daughter, who was 6 at the time, kicks the door open and says, "Daddy, you're going away." I said, "What?" And she goes, "Come here and look." So as the second plane came through, and boom, I saw that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then about 5 hours later, I was
pulling security. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we digress. We went into 2005. You're getting out of college. What's going on?
Yeah, that was I had a journalism degree, and I wanted to be kind of like I don't know, sort of either politics or like a war correspondent kind of thing. You know, it was sort of like 2 things that don't really go together well, because the political reporters tend to be, you know, your real button down types, and that really wasn't me, but I was always interested in politics. Uh-huh. And then being like a correspondent type thing was sort of more my speed. So, but at the, you know, this is like early start of like the financial crisis. And so jobs were starting like, it was almost like right as I got out of college and started looking for work. Like, as I was going through college, there were all these jobs and everybody's like, oh, it's super easy to get work now. You get, and then right as I got out of college, it's like, nope, it's over. No more jobs. That's how I differentiate between like older millennials, which I'm a millennial, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know how that works. I made
the cutoff, 1981. Older millennials, you got out of college and there were no jobs. Younger millennials, there's tons of jobs for them. Mm-hmm. So there should be 2 categories. It should be broken into 2. Right. Oregon Trail generation, I guess.
Yes, Oregon Trail. Apple. Yeah. Gosh, I still had a black and white TV. You got a flipped radio. Like, what's going on, man?
At least you guys were never antennas.
Oh, well, we had antennas.
Yeah, you hold the antenna with one.
I was a personal remote control. I was a remote control kid. Yeah. Like, hey, stand there, next channel, and like, 13 channels.
We lived out in the boondocks, so we didn't have the bunny ears. I had to get on the roof and move the what do you call those things where it has like the fins?
Yeah, it's the antenna.
Big antenna or something.
With the fins. You know? Like, okay, left, right, up. So, but I worked as a stringer reporter. I did sports and, you know, some politics and stuff.
Now, this out in Carolina, or did you come back?
Actually, I went to D.C.
Went to D.C. I mean, that's where the hub probably a lot of that work is at.
So I lived in D.C. for a while.
Wow.
Did some reporting. It was always like stringer work. I would just basically work to pay rent, and then.
So. This big old thing about cleaning up DC recently. Like, what was DC like back then?
I mean, it was great. I mean,
like homeless, and it was murders. Like it wasn't.
Well, I mean,
was it bad? Was it? You scared? I mean,
no. I mean, there's all.
They make it sound so horrible.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, okay, let's talk about that. So people talk about, well, I'll use San Francisco as an example. So people talk about how bad San Francisco is now, and there's homeless everywhere. There's always been homeless in San Francisco. It's always been bad. It has always been bad. And like you can go and read old articles about the Tenderloin or Chinatown from like the 1800s, and people talking about how crappy it is. It's a feature of large urban areas is that they're going to have a lot of homeless and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And San Francisco to me is like, it's always been the same. Like me and my family were there last year. Mm-hmm. We spent like 4 days just hanging out. It's great. Never saw any, because we didn't go to the bad neighborhood. We went to the nice parts.
Right.
I think that it gets this reputation because tourists will come from out of town. They'll get lost. They'll go down the wrong street and then see the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But no, and DC is the same, Now I haven't been to DC I've been there for work a number of times, but when you're working, I don't go downtown, or I'll go to like some meeting on Capitol Hill and then to a hotel where there's another meeting, and then I get on a plane and leave. So I haven't actually like visited DC in a very long time. Yeah. But yeah, no, I always like DC because the metro works really well. There's a lot of good restaurants. I would say a city that has changed a lot, like what you're talking about with the homeless issue, is Sacramento. Mm-hmm. So, my wife went to law school in Sacramento, and when we were dating, I would drive up there, visit her. We would go J Street, hang around downtown, have a great time.
Finally start talking about women.
Yeah.
So,
and it was kind of like downtown Sacramento has like a special place in my heart because that's where like my wife and I would hang out and see things.
So you're in DC and then you come back to Sacramento?
Yeah. So I was in DC for a while, and then my dad actually broke his arm working on a house. So another business I didn't mention, but my first business that I had growing up was stringing Christmas tree lights.
Oh, nice.
So me and my dad would string up Christmas tree lights, and he continued doing that with his handyman work and his landscaping business. Mm-hmm. And he fell off a ladder and broke his arm. Mm-hmm. And so I came back to live with him to help him get through that. So that was
mom still around?
No, my mom and dad, they never divorced, but they separated when I was probably...
Everything sounded so great. Like they were very respectful.
You know what? It was never like they were fighting or... they did, they would fight over things a lot. But it was never... I never saw anything that bad, But I think they just were different, very different people. My mom was kind of more like... I don't know, head in the clouds, kind of like she was always like searching. Like my dad was just like Catholic. My mom was always looking at she would be a different religion every couple of years.
Yes.
And she was like a preschool teacher and like loved playing with kids and imagination and all that. My dad was kind of more like you get up in the morning and work, and then you go to bed, and then you go to church on Sunday. And it was much more like structured.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was the whatever the yin and yang. I don't know which is which, but he was the one and she was the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, they separated when I was, I think, like 12 or 13. Mm. And but we were always together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, she was living elsewhere. My dad was living by himself. He got injured, and he was not very healthy in general. So it's like he broke his arm, but he had a lot of other.
Must have been older too. I mean,
I mean. I don't know. He was in his like 50s or 60s.
Oh. Yeah.
But, he was like Army veteran, Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Iron worker.
Yeah.
Growing up in the middle of
talk about that.
The wilderness.
Vietnam. Did the uncles go to Vietnam too?
Yeah. So my uncle Clarence was in the Navy. My dad was in the Army. He was drafted. Mm-hmm. And then my uncle Dan was I think he was in the Army also.
Did your dad ever talk about what he did?
So no, it was very typical of what you hear about veterans. What's funny is I remember he did one tour in Vietnam and then one in Germany. He was a supply corps. Mm-hmm. And
was he married during that time with your mom too?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, he got married in his full uniform and they had,
Nice.
Like and he was one of the first rounds of drafts. So it was like 1964, I think, is when he went in. And, so they got married shortly after that. And I never saw any, never talked about it, nothing like that. But then we had a family picture on the wall that was of a man in a Army uniform. Mm-hmm. And I was like, who is that, Dad? And he was like, that's me. Because the guy in the picture was clean shaven, all put together. And my dad had a big bushy white beard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, that's me. And I was like, you were in the Army? and he said, that was in Germany, because he was in Vietnam and then in Germany, in Mannheim. And what I understood at that time, because I was just a kid, is that he was in the German Army? And I was thinking, of World War II. And I was like, isn't that like a bad thing? To be in the German Army in World War? Because I didn't know a difference between things. Yeah. But later on, my brother actually got him to kind of talk about it. And I remember him kind of describing things, and he always talked about just like he didn't like it. It was he felt it was kind of like it was a hard time, because he just saw, he's lost friends, and it was kind of like I remember him saying he didn't want to make friends toward the end, because it's like you would lose them. Yeah. And so you sort of get in. And so he had one buddy that was, last name was Guyette, and he lived in like New Hampshire or Vermont or something like that he stayed in touch with. He had one Army buddy, and they would meet every single year. Nice. And that was like his one like connection to that. But talked about it very little, and trying to get him to talk about it was like pulling teeth. Yeah. And he would always want to talk about like, I used to, I would buy sewing machines at this market and then sell them on this other side of town for cigarettes. Yeah. And then I would take the cigarettes or exchange it for, he would exchange sewing machines for cigarettes and then take the cigarettes to the Army base and then sell the cigarettes. Yeah. That was like how we made money. Yeah. So
very entrepreneurial, and I had so many different jobs. That's the mindset. Yep. So your dad, you come back, your dad's got a broken arm. What years are we talking about here in Sacramento?
This is probably 06, Okay. So 07 maybe.
So you weren't really in D.C. for that long, huh?
No, about a year and a half.
So then you're walking downtown Sacramento and you just come across the love of your life? Is this how this works?
No. I was working at the Stockton Record newspaper, and that's where I met my wife.
Oh, nice. Was she working in the newspaper too or something?
Mm-hmm. Yep. She and I started hanging out, and I can't remember if she had already started or was just about to start, but she was like, she had just started law school. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I got in on the ground floor. But she had just started law school, and she was living in Sacramento. I was living in Stockton, and going to help my dad in Sacramento. And so, that's what brought me back to California. And then I've been back ever since. So I was only away from California from 2002 to 2006.
Yeah. 4 years.
So.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, so your wife graduate, and then all of a sudden you get up here in Tuolumne?
Yeah, I got a job at the Union Democrat.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, because I was working on the desk at the Record, which is kind of like an editor type position.
So is it you got a job offer up here at Democrat, and that's what brought you up? So.
Yeah, because I was covering cops and courts up here.
Your wife's name's Haley?
Hallie. Yeah.
Hallie.
Like Halle Berry, but twice as pretty.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, Hallie. And so you come up here, did she come up here with you? Or she's still in school? How's that all working out?
She was still in school when I moved up here, and then I think she graduated and then came up. Nice. And then we weren't married at the time. But yeah, she moved up here, and then we got married in 2012 at St. Patrick's.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You know, right out of law school, did she just start working at Finder's office or something? Or?
Yeah, she was doing. She was interested in like defense attorney type stuff. So she worked for like the federal public defender and a couple different things, and then she got a job at the county public defender's office.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and that I think I was still at the paper when she worked at the county before I did.
Okay.
So.
Very nice.
And so we were getting right up to now, you know, like it seems like the last 10 years has been a blink.
It has. It's been pretty wild because it's like we got married. We got married 2012. We had our first kid 2013. Like I said, Catholic. You know, we got started.
Mm-hmm. You got to have a kid for every year.
Yeah.
A kid for every year.
So had our first kid 2013, next kid 2014, next kid 2016.
Oh, okay, yeah, a little bit of gap. You know, once you get back to 2 or 3, then it starts pushing out a little bit.
Yeah. So we got married 2012, had our first daughter 2013, bought our house 2014, and had our next kid, and then 2015. I think I started working with the county, or no, it was before that. And then 2016, our youngest daughter was born, and then I ran for supervisor 2018.
Yeah,
very nice.
That was a strange time.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history.
It's been a strange decade.
Yeah,
it really has, because our country's in a change. Yes. You know, it's happened a number of times throughout our country's history. You know, you look at the Revolution. You know, that was a huge change, and it was about ideas, essentially. Yeah. And then you have like the Civil War, which was sort of the same thing. It was like a reshuffling. Like, do you ever watch the Civil War series, the Ken Burns?
I'm not sure if I have or not.
I love it. It's like 9 hours long. So, you know, it's not exactly an easy watch, but I love it. Yeah. But there's this one thing that Shelby Foote is this famous historian, and he's interviewed, and he says, before the Civil War, we would talk about the United States the United States are. We would talk about the United States as like a group of states.
Yes.
You know, the United States are going to do this, or the United States are going to this. After the Civil War, the United States became one thing. Like, the United States is this. The United States is that. Yes. And he said that's kind of the shift in people's minds about what it means to be an American. Is we're all one thing. We're not just a group of different states. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of in, you know, I don't know that it's as bad as the Civil War, because it was bad prior to the Civil War, you know, much worse than some of the things we're seeing now. And I think people lose sight of that, you know, because you look at like Bleeding Kansas and all the things going on, because there was like basically mini wars going on in the lead up to the Civil War, where hundreds and hundreds of people killed. But we have had other changes, like in the early part of the 20th century, where, you know, you had the Gilded Age, where you had all these people with all the money, and then you end up with like new social programs, Social Security, and all that kind of stuff came out of it, and that was a huge shift. So we're definitely in one of those kind of periods right now.
Yes.
But promise, nobody knows. If anybody knew where it was going to end up, they'd be a billionaire overnight.
Yeah. I felt like for a long time growing up, I felt like everything was fairly predictable, you know, and now we don't know. We can't even predict tomorrow. Like, geez, it seems like we're day to day now.
Yeah.
And technology. Yeah. It's like, you know, the days of flip phones, like someday you're going to improve these things, but like, no, they're improving them tomorrow. Like,
well, I mean, how much of it too do you think is like this is like a totally cliche, but we're more connected in more ways than we've ever been. But in a lot of ways that really matter, we're disconnected more than we've ever been.
Absolutely.
Because, something bad happens in, Chattanooga, Tennessee, we're going to hear about it in Tuolumne County today. Yeah. Whereas that never existed before. And so I think a lot of these things were always going on and always have gone on. It's just we didn't know about it. And so we were kind of blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of, I don't know if the Borg concept is, when we're all connected so much.
Borg, like Star
Yeah,
Trek?
it's just like we're so connected in that weird way, but not, we're so disconnected on a social, neighborly way. Yeah, in a personal way. Yeah. It's as a collective, this monster that's happening right now, and really, personally, it's like you said, it's no real different. But it's just
Well, it's people. The thing that concerns me on social media, which I've already said, I freaking hate it. It's like people just going on there to be upset. But then if you aren't engaged in it, you don't know what's going on. And that's a big thing with me is I am pathologically, I have to know what's going on. Yeah. Like I get very weird when I feel like I'm not aware of something happening that's surprising. I don't like to be surprised.
But is that like the modern day addiction though? Like that's the modern day addiction for everybody?
I've always kind of been that way.
Well, as a journalist, you're thinking about current events and writing and thinking.
Yeah. But it's sort of like, I don't know. It's like people come at it with, and they already know what they how they want to feel about something.
Yeah.
Rather than delaying your judgment until you really have all the information. That's like a skill that I take from journalism is that, you'll look at something and it'll look a certain way when you on first glance, but you always have to take that second and pause and say like, there's probably more to this. You can't always believe the first thing that comes out. Yeah. I remember I wrote this story about, I don't remember exactly what it was about, but it involved TUD. And somebody called me up. This was when I was working for the newspaper, obviously. And they called me up and they're like, why are you bashing TUD? You wrote this story. It was totally biased. You're a bad reporter. This is totally unfair to TUD. You should apologize to them because this is so mean to TUD, the way you wrote this story. And I'm like, well, sorry, agree to disagree. And Yeah. 5 minutes later, somebody calls me up. You're in the pocket of TUD. You wrote this story that is so nice to them. And this is way fawning story. You should apologize to all these people that don't like TUD. It was like these two people read the same story and had 100% opposite interpretations of it.
Absolutely.
And it's funny. I hung up with that second person and I turned to the editor and I was like, well, I guess I did a pretty good job. I pissed everybody off equally. So,
Yeah. So, so you're working down at the county, you're an analyst down at the county. What does an analyst do? Like for the county?
Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'll give you the honest answer. It's like, I don't know. Well, because like I don't know what they call it. I'm sure there's some job classification, but effectively what it is you are in charge of this area. It's either a grant program or something. You need to figure out how to run it, how to do. It's a catch-all for like being a program manager is basically what it is, but they don't call it that because you'd have to pay. You have to pay a program manager more.
Okay.
So maybe that's not the PC, but yeah, it's putting somebody in charge of a segment of a county operation. So like your job is to do this. Like my job was tree mortality. So we had 180.
Because it was just after the fire. We had the rim fire, right? 13.
Yeah, 2013 was the rim fire.
So now you're working on a program.
Yeah. Well, it was the drought is what caused the...
Yeah.
It's all interconnected. We had a huge drought in California from like 2008, I think, all the way to 2015.
Yes.
And we had all these pine trees die. Mm-hmm. And so my job at the county was to figure out how to take them down because they were leaning over people's houses, over roads, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it started as just this little thing. You know, we got like $1 million to do a couple of projects, and then it's ballooned into like this multi-million-dollar fuels management thing that the county does now. And it all started with me and one other guy in a little room in a county office.
So fast forward a little bit. I mean, you're sitting in the office, you're working on these programs. What is the straw that breaks the camel back that like, hey, I want to do this, run for office?
Run for supervisor?
Yeah.
I was always one of those people that said, I'm never going to do that. Because I was on the other side of it as a reporter and an editor. I was always like going after those people. I was like, I knew how I thought and talked about politicians as a reporter. And so I never wanted to be one of those people because I know that, you know, there are reporters and people that are going to go after you the second you do it. Yeah. But the reason I got into journalism was to make a difference. I wanted to be somebody that influenced decision makers to do the right thing. You know, to share, okay, this is what the community says. This is what all the pieces of it. Here's the information. Go do the right thing. You know, leaders, politicians, go do it. Yeah. I found that journalism was having less of an effect to do that. I would write these stories, I'd work, and I'd feel proud about it, and then nothing would change. And it'd be the same stuff, regardless of the work I put in. Yeah. And so I realized that in order to actually make change and make things better, you have to be the guy. You have to be the one to step up and, you know, take the slings and arrows and be that target, because yes, you're a target, but you also get the opportunity to actually make decisions that matter. Yeah. Because just trying to influence people to make decisions doesn't really work as well as it used to. No.
Part of being a leader, right? You got to lead. You got to show the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I found is that if I would talk about things that really mattered to me, and I would just push ahead, you know, this is what I think is right. This is what I truly think matters, without concern to what other people thought. I would start pushing ahead, and then I'd look back, and all of a sudden there's people following me. Yeah. And there would be people that say, yeah, I agree with you. And it's like they were just waiting for somebody to be the first one to say it. Mm-hmm. And if you are willing to be that person and take that risk, you'll find more often than not there are people that will support you and back you up.
Absolutely.
But it's scary because it is a risk. You know, what if I say something and nobody agrees with me, and then I'm this idiot that, you know. Yeah.
I think what I've personally have struggled with is that I kind of do the same thing. Like I'll head that way. Yeah. But then it's like I've gotten now I'm like involved in too many things. Now I'm not. This year I'm coming up. I'm gonna be cutting back. Like I feel like I got out of hand. Like, oh, okay, I'm doing good here, but it's like to help this. This needs to be better over here, and then you kind of get involved in it. I call it the healthy collusion. I mean, we're in a small community. You want something done, you got to know somebody. You got to go over here. You got to shake hands, make things work. It's how our community works. It's just healthy collusion. Yeah, absolutely. But then it's like I felt like I've become just so spread thin. Yeah. And like things like this, bringing back the Tuolumne legends, like this is something like I really wanted to do, but I had to put on a hiatus because I was like involved in trying to make all these other things work. You know, you only got so much time in a day. Yeah.
I mean, I think we've talked about that where there's like 200 people in Tuolumne County that do everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do all the volunteering. Exactly. We've got 55,000 people in this county, and we all know the ones that pretty much do all the work. Yeah. And everybody, and it's not saying that people don't care. It's that they're trying to make ends meet. They're trying to support their families. It's a lot of extra work to be involved in the community now. I think that's something that's really been lost, is that it used to be expected that, you know, you would either volunteer with your church or you would do something, you know, but now it's sort of like people are kind of insular to just what's on inside the four walls of their house. Yeah. And and the number of people that are looking beyond that is just fewer and fewer and part of it is like social media. Like people don't want to be, if you do anything in this community, you're going to have somebody, no matter what it is. If you want to build a dog park or have a children's parade, something that you wouldn't think would have any opposition, guarantee you there will be opposition to it.
I remember the first year I took over for donkey basketball. Oh, man. I literally had like this lady calling me up. That like we're hurting the animals and we're hurting the donkeys and this is horrible and PETA and I'm like and so I remember seeing it when I was a kid, but this is the first time I'm like really paying attention and involved in. So when the donkeys came in and they were so nice and I felt like they actually liked the attention, like you could tell like they really liked the human connection, but it's just weird,
it's people that have never been around animals that have this kind of opinions. Because it's like animals want to be, they're bred for certain purposes over hundreds and thousands of years.
Yeah, of course.
They want to do those things that they, like dogs. Dogs want to be put to work and be involved in things. And horses, you have to ride them and you have to take them out and let them run around. Like people think that they what's the word? Anthropomorphize. They put human values onto animals. It's like, no, animals are different. Yeah. It's just like dogs, you have to be the pack leader and you have to be strong with them and you have to be kind of like physically imposing. That's how they communicate and they understand. Now, you wouldn't want to be that way with people, right? Yeah. But for dogs, it makes sense. So you shouldn't apply the same morality to animals that you do with humans, which to me seems like an obvious thing to say. But I remember we had a local person that was really successful in they were participating in the Iditarod. And so I wrote a story at the newspaper for that. The Iditarod is this famous sled dog race from like Nome, from I can't remember. It's from Nome, Alaska to another place in Alaska. I think maybe Fairbanks or something like that. But it's this huge sled dog race all across Alaska. And we had a local person that participated. That's pretty cool. Big deal. Yeah. What's the story about? And I had this woman call me she was really upset that I wrote a story about sled dogs and how they tortured the dog.
Oh yeah.
And I was kind of like, I mean, have you ever met a sled dog? Those sled dogs want nothing more than to pull a sled. Like that. That is what they live for.
Yeah.
That is their favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah. And they also animals feed the world too. We have to kill them, eat them. They're food. Like, oh my gosh. So, you get who were you running up against? Who did you beat out? I can't remember now.
So, Randy Handbell was you remember Randy?
You beat Randy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was the supervisor when I ran. And then I think then Dave Tichnell, I think, was running too. And I think there was one other person.
Yeah, 18 was crazy. We had a lot of people running for office.
So I think there might have been another person running too. I'm sorry, I don't remember that. I should. But what I saw locally was that. So I lived in District 2. That was where we bought our house. It's where we lived there. And I just saw all these other great things were happening in all the other districts. But not in District 2. We were always the last to get our streets plowed during the snow. We hadn't had any major road projects ever. I mean, when I say ever, I mean 25 years.
Wow.
We had no parks, no libraries in our district, very little commercial activity. It was kind of like we were the leftover stepchild. And part of it is geography. So District 2 is Salisburyville, Cedar Ridge, Crystal Falls, Bellevue Oaks, Phoenix Lake Country Club Estates, Mona Vista. I can name them all. But there's no one central community. Like you think District 3 where you live, you got Tuolumne City, you got Tween Heart. District 5, you got Columbia, you got Jamestown. District 1 is Sonora. District 4, you got Groveland. We don't have that. Like Soulsbyville is probably the closest thing to like a large community, but it's divided by the highway.
Yes.
So, you have the commercial on Longway, and then all the people live on the north side, and then all the people live on the south side of the highway.
Yeah.
And so I just felt that we were kind of being neglected, and I saw a lot of focus on the board on, Sacramento politics and just think
that's good and bad, right? I mean, you gotta bring in.
Yes. But it has to be for a purpose. Like my big thing is if I travel to Washington or I travel to Sacramento or anywhere in the state, advocating for Tuolumne County, I have to come back with something. Like I'm not just going to go talk or have lunch or whatever. I'm going there to get something and bring it back to our community, because that has to be the purpose. And I just saw the basics were not getting fulfilled. We weren't doing the basics.
Did you have any like mentors during this process of like people with experience as supervisor and helping you along?
Man, that's a great question. I had people that encouraged me. I had people encourage me. I don't know that I really had any. I would say that once I was elected, John Gray, who's the longtime supervisor from Groveland.
Yep.
I mean, he's like Mr. Groveland. His family goes back, I don't know, 60 generations. I don't know. I think they probably built Yosemite National Park, as far as I know. But yeah, John Gray was always a mentor when I was on the board. I remember getting really frustrated over a couple of things, and him coming to me and just being like, oh, Ryan, you need to calm down. A lot of the things we talk about, we will talk about again. And so it's a marathon and not a sprint. So you may lose here and there, but you're looking at the long-term goal. And so that was what I wanted to do, is to get to work, getting some roads fixed, getting fire resources was a big thing for me. We didn't have a fire station. Actually, we do have fire stations in District 2. We had Station 58, 57, and 56. But one of them was a volunteer fire station, 58. I'm on the board for them. Nice. The other is 57, which was contracted with the Forest Service. So they do help us, but they're not going to respond to
emergencies,
EMT stuff. And then the other one is Station 56, which was a long time volunteer fire station that hadn't been operated in a lot of years. And so I wanted to get an actual county fire station in District 2, which we didn't have. It was either volunteer or Forest Service, which, they don't do the kind of core things that we expect. And, a lot of people say it is that, if your house is burning down, do you care what badge somebody's wearing? You just want somebody to be there. And so the people that are going to respond in that situation in District 2 would be Tuolumne County Fire Department, because we don't have our own special districts for that kind of thing in district. We don't have any.
Wow.
Not for fire departments. Like you've got a number of them in Tuolumne City. You've got a number of them in Tween Heart. Really good, really well functioning special districts. We don't have that in District 2, and so we are totally dependent on having something through the county come in.
So with those fire departments, they're not their own type of district. How are they getting their funding? Like, does that make sense?
Well,
like Tuolumne is a Tuolumne Fire District. It's its own little entity with the board, and you just talked about having a board that you're on, right? So, is it a district, or what is it considered? So,
Station 58 is technically called a fire company.
Fire company.
So it's a volunteer fire company. It is an offshoot of CAL FIRE and Tuolumne County Fire Department. So like their engine is owned by County of Tuolumne. the facility is owned by the county of Tuolumne. The staff, the volunteers get stipend, and part of that is fundraising by our board and by the ladies auxiliary up there, who's friggin' awesome.
Yeah,
like they do. I mean, I'm on the board for the fire company, but the ladies auxiliary do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So your company is getting resources from CAL FIRE and
from CAL FIRE, from the county, and from private fundraising by the community.
Unlike a district firehouse is actually pulling money from tax base.
Yes. So like your Tuolumne Fire Department or Twain Harte Community Services District have their own fee assessments to the citizens. So all the people in that sphere of influence agree, okay, we're going to pay like for Twain Harte, it's a lot. It's like $200 or $300 a year extra that they pay on their taxes that goes to the fire department. So unless you're, and that, to me, that's a great thing. Cause I mean, if I could pay $200 extra a year to have my own fire department,
God forbid we have to pay more money, right?
I would love that. I mean,
so just because I know things, I know a little bit of things. Why wouldn't it be possible to like get LAFCO involved and be like, let's turn this into a district firehouse?
Well, I mean, you could. It is very difficult. We haven't had any new special districts come into the county in like 30 years. Yeah. And it's because that process, going through the state process, is so difficult, first of all, and then getting people in a community to agree to pay more on their taxes is very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to get, I think it's like I don't know exactly what you'd have to get more than just a simple majority of people to agree to pay. And it would be a lot too. It would be, like $200-$300.
Oh yeah.
Which for a lot of people is, that's make or break. And they would have to assess that tax on themselves. Plus you'd have to go through the LAFCO process. Plus you'd have to get the county to agree to it, because the county can always say no. Yeah. Like, we don't want to give up that facility, or because there could be some cost there.
Oh yeah.
So it's a very difficult process to do that. But I would 100% support it if that was the direction we wanted to go. So
I guess there's answers to the problem, but it's just so hard. And then it comes down to, you got to pay more money. You got to pay more. Things cost money. Yeah. I've learned a lot by just sitting on the Park and Recreation District Board and continuing to be involved since my run in 2018, because I was with you guys.
I remember.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. And I'm.
It's funny. I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you run in the same election with somebody, there's always a bond there, whether you're on the same side or not.
We were both green at the years, man.
Because every election is different, and nobody knows what it's like except another person that's been in that election.
I always say, like, that was the dumbest and smartest thing I ever did. Yeah. It was dumb because I didn't know nothing. I just know I wanted to make change, positive change. And then the smartest thing about it was I met a lot of good people. Yeah. And I opened a lot of doors for me to actually help make change. And I didn't need that position to do that. Yeah. I just needed to know the people to work with. And that's what was helpful about that process. And I got sidetracked, right?
You were talking about everything costs money, and
and that's what it usually comes down to. It's like people complain that it costs money to live, fuel's going up, electricity, the cost of living, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing at the government level. Oh, yeah. It's costing you more money to do business. It's costing the government more money to do business. And everybody kind of thinks like we're misappropriating funds, or we're not doing it right. Like, what do you think every person that's run for office went in there to help? Truly help. They didn't go in there to make a buck, especially at our lower level. We're just trying to take care of our community. But there's always this weird mindset, like we're not doing right with the money, and we pay you enough money, and it's like your bills went up, our bills went up. Like, it's.
I agree. I mean, that's one of the biggest criticisms that I hear of the county that bothers me is I constantly hear people say that the county is mismanaging its funds, that it's mismanaging its budget, that if we could only, spend money on the right things, we'd have enough money to support law enforcement and fire and get all the roads fixed, within 5 years. When I got on the Board of Supervisors, if you wanted to see what was in the county budget, you would have to go to the county office and they'd have a big binder that's about 6 inches deep. And it was all numbers. And then maybe there'd be a little description of what departments it was. But the average person would have no clue where their tax dollars were getting spent. All of that now is online in pie charts in very easily to understand format. It's all separated by department and then by if there's line items. All the line items are pulled out individually. It is totally transparent where every single taxpayer dollar that comes in from your sales tax, from your property tax, from TOT, from grants, it is all online for anyone to see. If somebody finds a way to manage that better, I want to hear about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are a lot of people in the county that are working on that. And believe me, if there was something I could cut that would buy me, $2 million to fix roads, I would do that.
Oh, yeah.
If there was something I could do to, if there was just extra money sitting around or that we were using for, vacations to Italy and driving around in Rolls Royces and stuff like that. If that kind of thing was going on, I would do something about it.
I feel like you really pinched a lot of pennies these last 2 years. Like, really.
I mean, it's the nature of being a rural county. We're poor. We're
probably the poorest, right? Well, one of the poorest. Because our neighbors don't have they're not encumbered by federal land. They get good tax base. Well, we don't.
You want to talk about that? I have some opinions about the federal government and the lands.
Yeah.
Because.
But I mean, that's what our biggest problem is, right? It's like we don't have the tax base.
It's one of them. Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't have the tax base. First of all, our median household incomes are pretty low. So people in general in Tuolumne County don't earn very high wages.
Yes.
But I mean, we all know the gas, the food is just as high here as it is in the valley. Or I think it's higher. Yeah. I feel like everything is. I'll go visit my brother.
I feel like our gas is pretty good. I mean, I don't know. It's strange where we get it from.
Almost $7 a gallon for diesel right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where.
I drive a diesel.
I feel like I'm in 5 or 6 when I go down to the Bear Creek.
But my brother lives in the Bay Area, and I feel like it's cheaper where he lives than it is here. I mean, maybe not buying a house.
Well, when you live in an area with big tax base, you can lower the income tax or the sales tax. There's ways they can pull money in from other places. We don't have a lot of option to pull money in from other places.
No, and the only thing, there's this article that came out recently that the county's not growing. Like we're one of the least growing counties in, I think, not just the state, but like the country.
Good.
Interesting.
And I think 3 of the counties highlighted in that study were rural California counties. Wow. So like one was like, I can't remember. I don't remember which ones, but 3 of them were in California. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's not just a problem with our county. It's the nature of how California and the federal government treats rural communities in California.
Yes.
Like we're supposed to get something called payment in lieu of taxes. It's called PILT. The federal government's supposed to pay us a certain amount of money based on how much federal land is in the county because, we can't charge them taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
We're affected by their maintenance or lack thereof.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and if there's a crime in the national forest, guess who's responding to that? It's the sheriff. If there's a fire up there, guess who's responding?
It's the county. Yeah.
And so we use our resources to help support the forest, but we get maybe $3 million back in response, and it's not nearly enough.
No.
And when you add to that that, you mentioned tourism earlier. I have some hot takes on tourism. But when you think about tourism, we have 3.5-4 million people coming to Yosemite every year through our county. Yeah. We have, about 1,750,000 coming to Pinecrest and up the 108 corridor. Yeah. That has an impact that goes well beyond TOT, because TOT, transient occupancy tax, is only paid by people staying in hotels.
Absolutely.
The people that buy their gas in Oakdale come up to Pinecrest, leave all their crap, and go home, and then eat at Taco Bell in Oakdale. We have extracted no money from those people, but we're having to pay for what they do here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I don't know that there's a good answer for that. But having the federal government recognize that, they have this draw on county resources, I think would be a big deal.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, I mean, when you go to Washington or you go to the state, you have this in the back of your mind, and like, how does that apply? Like, what you're trying to do and accomplish?
Well, so me and this other supervisor, John Peters, who's in Mono County, across the mountains, have advocated for increasing PILT. So we got, I think they gave us another, because PILT also pays for schools. No, I'm sorry, I'm confused. So there's two things. There's PILT, and then there's the Secure Rural Schools element of the Farm Bill that gets passed by Congress. The Congress likes to drag their feet on that. And so the schools get about $1 million from that, and then the county gets $500,000 from that. So we're advocating and have gotten slightly more money from that by traveling to D.C. and advocating for that. Okay. So those two things I've been pushing for a lot is PILT and Secure Rural Schools, which Secure Rural Schools goes back to, the olden days when it was kind of like kids couldn't afford shoes, and you had communities with electricity, and then in the rural areas they didn't have electricity, and you're clearly putting the kids in rural communities at a disadvantage. Yeah. We're in the same phase right now, just like the Great Depression, where you had these rural areas that didn't have electricity, and you had areas that did. Yeah. The areas that did grew up, and they had all kinds of economic activity. The ones that didn't progress at all.
Yes.
We have very little access to broadband internet. We have very little access to infrastructure dollars in Tuolumne County. Whereas look at friggin' Silicon Valley is the wealthiest, most technologically and economically advanced area in the whole friggin' world.
Yes.
2-hour drive from here, and we get none of the same benefits. Yeah. And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that they consider the fact that, where they go for recreation in those communities, where they get their water from, where the timber that, they build their roofs and walls with comes from. If we're not doing well, they're going to suffer eventually too.
Absolutely.
So it's like getting that message out is a big part of it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, there's so much we can talk about on all that different types of things. I want to keep you here forever, but probably need to.
It's been having a good time.
Yeah, and that's how we want to just have these honest conversations. And I think learning about you and your background and agriculture and your thought process over these years, and especially just what you just talked about in your focus on the community, is very enlightening. I'm very thankful for you coming on.
Absolutely.
And having just a normal conversation in this crazy world.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have your time, man. Any other things burning questions you ever wanted to know? I'm pretty open book. Like people, I'll meet with people and they'll say, like, oh, and I won't share what you told me with it. And I'm kind of like, I don't really say anything in private that I don't say. I don't keep secret because it's just, I'm not smart enough to be able to
I've never been a good liar.
Yeah.
I can't remember
I'm not a good enough politician to say things that I don't really feel.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to. My goal today was to focus on you, and I don't want to talk about specifically any candidates running against you. They'll have their moment, but we do have a supervisor who he seems like he's a very good politician. I mean, he's just well learned. like in the way he speaks and the way he talks, he's just smart. And I think you know who I'm talking about. Our youngest supervisor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's on his way to do great things, I guess. But yeah, there's all types of different kinds.
Yeah.
We might be a small community, but it's interesting how many different personalities we have and what we can come together. Yeah. The movers and shakers, the volunteers, our community runs on people being engaged in our community, caring about it. I mean, we're like a small family. We're so small.
Yeah.
And the things that we're up against don't have any good answers. And I'm kind of always weary about, especially this candidate season, people want to be supervisor. They think they can make a change. And I worry about somebody like with you, I'm not endorsing you, but you have the experience, you have a mindset of what our problems are, and you bring somebody else new on. How long is it going to take for them to get up to speed to take off where you were? No, but then there's always the attrition argument, I guess, of like fresh ideas and stuff like that. So I don't know. Win or lose, what are you thinking about?
I serve at the first thing is that if you want to be a county supervisor to be a big shot, that is not at all what it's like.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the time, I feel like I'm like the lowest on a totem. I'm getting like all these requests for people, things that they want to see in their community, and it's very hard to do all of them because there's just not enough money, not enough resources, and so a lot of times I have to kind of, manage people's expectations with that type of thing. But, that being said, I'm really proud of the things that I've done. I think objectively, all the things that I've focused on are better now than they were when I started.
Yeah.
And I'm not done. I think there's still a lot of work that I can do and that I'm willing to do. And I really do feel like I'm at that place. Like you mentioned, like the experience and having the connections and I'm at that place where I can pick up the phone and call the insurance commissioner's office. I can pick up the phone and I'm the leader of the rural caucus in our California State Association of Counties. Yeah. So, what the county, like, I can actually put the interests of Tuolumne County first of all 27 rural counties by doing that, and, those type of things don't happen overnight. It takes years and it takes commitment and building those relationships. And, it's not easy. But it is very much service. Like, if you're not prepared to give of yourself to this job, it's not the right thing to do. Yeah. So you have, that's why I tend to look for people like what I was asked, because, whenever I hear anybody from any district wants to run for supervisor, whether it's mine or whatever, they'll get a call from them or I'll call them and I'll say, hey, let's go get lunch. And almost the first thing I always want to ask them is, okay, once you're elected supervisor, what do you plan to do with that?
Yeah.
Because you get a certain amount of authority. It's not a lot. I'm only 20% of the decision-making body in Tuolumne County, but you get a certain amount of authority. You get an ability you get a louder voice. What are you going to do with that? And 9 times out of 10, people haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, I just always pictured myself being supervisor. And I was like, okay, that's not the end of it.
Yeah.
It's what do you plan to do with being supervisor? Yeah. That's the big thing. And so that's what I always think about is, okay, I have this ability to do, these 3 things, but I can really only do one of them with the money and the resources and the time. So which one are we going to do? That type of thing.
Yeah.
I have a question I've always thought about is how is as a supervisor, how is your work relationship with the county staff? Like, as supervisor, can you just like walk around and say hi to people, or is there like you have to go through the administrator? Is there like rules in how you interact with the employees at the county?
Yeah.
How does that
I don't know what the rules are.
So it's
rules, but
so it's okay. You can go say hi to whoever's down in that office. Say, how's your day going? Hey, what's going on? What are you seeing?
I'm everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be, because I'm talking about the roads projects I've gotten done and the fuels projects. I'm not the one out there running the paving machine. You know, I'm not the one cutting that. Well, sometimes I'm the one cutting down the trees. But,
all of us.
When
it's storming, throw your chainsaw in the truck, because there might be a tree on the road on your way out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I actually helped cut up some trees in Cedar Ridge resident during a big snowstorm we had, and they were out of towner. It was a vacation home, and I was talking about, I'm a county supervisor, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "This is just what you do." I mean, everybody pitches in. But in terms of interacting with the employees, any success that I have as a supervisor is because of the work that our public employees do. One of the concerns that I've seen is that I've seen our board of supervisors be more critical directly of individual employees and departments and what they're doing, which is very dangerous, because it's easy to sit back and criticize someone else's job.
Yes.
I say, see you doing your driveway or something, and I think, well, I would have done that differently, and you don't know how much resources is available. You don't know what other workload is involved. You have to get the information before you really are critical of the work that public employees are doing, because we don't pay them enough. They're all underpaid. They're all overworked. We depend on county employees being dedicated and living in this community and wanting to see our community thrive. And if we take that away, if we say we don't appreciate you, we don't think what you're doing is valued, I don't think the work you're doing is good, it takes away one of those pillars. And now they're just looking at, well, I could go work at Starbucks and not have to deal with the hassle, and make probably the same amount of money. So we have to really appreciate the people that serve the community, because, people have this idea of lazy public employees. I have absolutely seen that at certain levels of government, like at the state. I'm not going to call it any agencies, but I've seen agencies where there's a whole room full of people and I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But at the county level, we're too small. You can't get away being lazy in Tuolumne County, basically, because someone else is going to notice and they're going to boot you out so they can get somebody in there that will do the job. Yep. So I think our county operates on a really high level for being so small, so few resources, and funded the way it is.
Yeah.
I think we do a really good job.
I have a question. I don't know how much you can speak to it, but just as a citizen,
I wear boxers and briefs. Okay?
Yeah,
depending on my mood.
Right too. I feel like with the turnover of some really well experienced county staff recently, I feel like we're 2 or 3 steps behind because we've lost that experience. But I mean, what can you say to that, if anything? Because I know some of it's probably personal or private. No,
it's a weird time because, our county had, when I got on with the county, everybody else had been there for friggin' ever. Everybody had been there 20 years. I was like the young whippersnapper. And now I'm like the old man at the county, because everybody else, I've been there longer than almost everybody.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of department heads that have been there longer than me. And, it's weird. We're definitely in a rebuilding, reformulating what, especially with community development.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to look like a year from now or 2 years from now. I honestly don't, because it's down 2/3 of the staff are gone.
Oh man!
In community development department, and you can't have a change like that and end up the same as you were. I mean, it just won't. Even if you wanted to, you cannot recreate that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely challenges there. I think if we can get staffed up to the essentials, then we can start moving ahead on these things. I just worry about the long-term stuff, like I said, like projects falling by the wayside and things not getting done on time, because that's one of the biggest criticisms is people wanting to build in the county go to the county office to get their permits, and it takes too long.
Yeah.
And what's happened at CDD has not improved that situation.
Yeah. Well, these are big problems.
Yeah.
And big issues. And
Yeah,
I appreciate you. Every time I've ever needed something, you've been open to call me, text me back, and I appreciate that as a citizen. And I think most of you guys do that down there. And the problem is sometimes the citizens don't like the answers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, like you said earlier, just trying to monitor people's expectations.
Yeah.
Is gosh,
Yeah.
I always like to under promise and over deliver. I've found that's been a better tactic.
You've been also, talk about being targeted. Like, I feel like you've been bullied a lot last year or so. But that's part of the job. Like, if you're going to be supervisor, you're going to have people.
Yep.
Mainly, you're going to hear people. The people that are angry or mad, those are the people you hear about the most.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing a great job, you don't really hear about it.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I've had like 2 or 3 phone calls from people in the community going, "Thank you for what I was doing in a certain project," and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!"
Yeah.
Like that pot, like someone recognized that.
Yeah.
But then it's all the other calls that pile up that they hate you or you did something wrong. Even, I've been that citizen too, because we're going to have another supervisor on next week. And I remember I angry emailed him about something in the community. He emailed me back and I refused to read it because I'm like, no, I don't care what he said. I was wanted to like vent my like frustration.
Yeah.
And I knew in the back of my head, like, I know there's nothing you could do about it, but I just want him to hear my frustration.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's funny. It's like, I almost never get angry emails or phone calls.
Good.
It's almost always positive or somebody asking for me to help them with something. The only real negativity I get is either social media or somebody comes to the board meeting and it's usually not related to something I did. It's more like attacking my character. Which, when it's something like that, I'm like, well, talk to other people in the community. There's a lot of people that know me, and I stand by everything I do. If you want to know about my character, ask people that know me.
Yeah, right.
Because I guarantee you, the people that are commenting on social media or making those, they don't know me. I've never met those people.
And there's so many other issues people are dealing with personally, and they don't know how to outsource it properly. Yeah. When you sit at home and you're not engaged, like, if you don't like something, you got to go get engaged. Like last year, I didn't like the flag football coach. Well, here I am coaching flag football this year. I'm like, I need another thing to do, but I am enjoying it. And I know the kids are going to get the coach that is paying attention and cares about them. Which I had a negative,
Absolutely.
But
I feel like I've done all the talking. I wanted.
Well, this was show as to interview
you, though.
Well, you'll have to call me on your podcast, and you can do the same thing.
Well, because our thing, because I interviewed you about the lumber jubilee.
Yeah. Well, usually when I get interviewed, it's always about
minutes.
It's short. It's about a topic. I've never been able to sit down and talk about me. And that's why, one of the reasons why I do this is I want to talk. Part of the legend of any individual is their story. And that's the legend,
Yes.
When we think about our grandfathers or somebody we knew in the community, it's what made them who they are, the moral framework that's around that, their thought process. And, it's not just Ryan Campbell, the supervisor. What made Ryan Campbell the supervisor? Look, he grew up on a farm. He was in the valley. He went across the country, went down to Mexico, and he was 18. There's so many stories that built you into that, and meeting your wife and coming up here and working for the newspaper and getting into analytics. That's the whole legend. It's the legend. Yeah. The legend of Ryan Campbell.
There's a saying. Have you ever seen Gangs of New York?
Yes.
And the Bill the Butcher guy talks about. He says, "I'm I'm grateful for every beating I ever took.
Yeah.
You know, and it's true.
Yeah.
I feel I am grateful for every beating I ever took, because it's like, that's why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
And that's to me, it's like, you know, there's like a bunch of stuff with this manosphere thing where, you know, that's going on right now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so focused on, you know, what you look like and those types of things. But being a man is knowing who you are and not needing anyone else to tell you, you know, who you are. Because I just feel like there's this whole generation of young men that are looking for someone to tell them who to be. Yeah. And it's like, no, being a man is you discover that yourself.
Yeah.
And then once you discover it, you be true to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just feel like that's been lost for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, it's a human connection. It's the social environment. Our kids, I remember when I was growing up, it's like I wasn't distracted by phones and all this other stuff, right? Yeah, I had a video game, I think Nintendo or whatever. I played it for like a half hour and I'd be done outside. And I would sit around and watch my godfather talk to all the old vets, you know, and listen to my dad tell me stories about his childhood. Yeah. And we got that disconnect a little bit in this generation. There's so much that they can do. They can be distracted in YouTube, video games. My son's not sitting next to me like I was sitting next to my dad.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the huge detriment for this upcoming future of children. Not to say all of them are, but this is kind of the trend, that they're not involved as much as they should. Absolutely. And they got a great life. We've provided them a great society, right? It's a double-edged sword, I suppose. I want my son to enjoy being a child.
Yeah.
Instead of working on a farm constantly at a young age, being more responsible ahead of our time, you know, than we maybe should have been. So, I mean, it's a kind of a utopia, but we're gonna be paying for that utopia. And I think it just values us as older guys.
Yes.
Is that, you know, they're gonna need us a lot longer. So you better keep us ticking if you want us to. If you want all the knowledge that we have, you know.
Man, nobody is going to know how to fix a carburetor in like 20 years.
Exactly.
Maybe even 10.
Or a toilet.
Yeah.
I mean,
will they even know what a carburetor is in 10? Like, jeez.
Man, I used to be able to do that blindfolded.
And that's what I love about the Tesla and the electric cars is that I just have to remind my wife to change the tires once a year. Everything else, it don't go break. You don't have to fill up anything. There's no belts that go bad, you know, like. So, and then, you know, the future is my son's maybe not have to drive. He's just going to go get in a vehicle and it's going to drive him someplace, you know?
Well, what's the fun in that, though?
Yeah. Well, it's the basics. You know, you got to learn the basics, right? Whereas the fun is in the basics. But I don't know. It's changing quick, changing fast. But anyways, we probably been enough time. But again, thank you very much, Ryan.
Hey, man.
Thanks for
anytime.
Yeah,
good to meet you too.
Yeah. And everybody watching at home, thank you for hanging out with us, Tuolumne Legends. And hey, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Later.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.